So I want to speak about 4 things that I think can really help with your research. One is to increase productivity and efficiency. And in order to do so, use collaborative software. The reason I say this is a few years ago, I was part of the Codestria College of Mentors. So I have helped supervise PhD students in South Africa and in Uganda and Zambia. And when I have told the students to work with me on a collaborative software, so this is not just Nigeria, other parts of Africa as well, it's been challenging. The other reason that made me highlight this point is that usually when I talk with my colleagues in Nigeria, and I come to Nigeria every year. So when I talk to colleagues in Nigeria, I see them, they have their students write their research on paper, and then they correct it on paper, and then the student has to rewrite it again. This is very inefficient. So I think I would like to recommend to this group, whether it's students or the faculty, that there's a tremendous amount of collaborative software that allows people to work together. So I'm going to stop sharing and share differently. But collaborative software, the best way to do your research is if you have a team of advisors. Usually a student will have 3 or 4 advisors, and sometimes those advisors are not in the same country. It's not helpful to send your dissertation to each one of them by email. You should create one site where you write your dissertation and put it on that site. And your supervisors, any of your supervisors can go on the site and read it and make corrections on the site and their suggestions. And everybody can see what the other person's suggestions and corrections are. And you can go in and either accept or reject any of those suggestions. But it's one piece of work that everybody is working on, not so many different copies. So let me show here a little bit how collaborative software works. There are many of those, but one of these is called Teams. And Teams comes with Microsoft. So Microsoft Teams is one of those software that I think a lot of you can really benefit from. There are even versions of Microsoft software Teams that are free. So I'll come back here. I will share my screen. Hold on. Sorry, I'm switching between a lot of things. This is my team site at Illinois State University. So these teams, these are the different teams I belong to. All the people who are applying for sabbaticals, they put their applications here, and everybody who is reviewing those applications can come here and review those. This is my read data, so I'm not going to click on some of them. This is real. This is not made up. This is my actual team site. Here's my academic senate. So every member who is on the academic senate, this is where they come. And if you click on this site, you could see all the materials that has been submitted. You can see who is submitting materials, what they have submitted. This is empty. Let me see, 1 second. So this is Senate package material for this year. Here are all the files. Here's the agenda, the meeting notes related to every Senate meeting. Nothing goes away from here. Nothing is printed. Nobody takes anything away. You can come here and read it. You can correct it. You can make, sorry, I'm not going to click any further because this is my read data. But you can click on this and you can make additions. So this is the way that students' data and supervision should work. You shouldn't be having a student with too many different right here, send to this person, send to that. So in this case, if you were one supervisor and you were or a student and you have 3 or 4 supervisors, whether they're in 4 or 5 different countries or universities, you can create a team site. And you see here, it says join or create a team. You can just click that, add the emails of the people that you want as part of that team. In that way, you have your study and all your information in one place. What is helpful with teams also is people can see variations. That way, if something changes, everybody can see what changes. When I was a student, I used to find it very frustrating. You write your paper and you send it to your 4 supervisors. One supervisor tells you do this. The other supervisor tells you do the opposite. Well, the reason they're doing that is they can't see what the other supervisor is suggesting. But if your data is in a collaborative space like this, everybody can see. Supervisor 1 can see all the suggestions that supervisor 2 is making. Supervisor 3 can see what and then you have one version of a document that evolves. It's not just for research. It's also clearly we are not using this for research. I am using this, but this is how we run the office. Each time you have a situation where many people are working on a document, it's better to have one. So this is my cabinet. So this is like the executive leadership of Illinois State University. Everything we do is here. And anybody has an idea, all the cabinet meeting agendas are here. If we are writing a document, it's one document and everybody is writing on it. So I want to very strongly advocate that you explore the possibility of using collaborative work in research if you are not already doing that. So that is one thing I wanted to share. The other thing I will share, let me go back to, sorry, I'm going to be switching between a lot of software here. So share. So that's number 1. Use review and track changes in Word to do your or any other document. Again, there should only, the key point is that you should only work on one document. You shouldn't work on 2 different documents. Everybody should be working on the same document. I have my friends who have their students email work to them. They make corrections to it and they send it back to the student. It should be all digital. So when you're writing, so I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to go into, well, I'm not going to do this. You should all do your changes and track changes. Have one document digitally. Your supervisor makes the changes on that document. And then when you come back, you can say accept or reject the change. That way you don't have to go back and redo 2 or 3. I'm not going to show an example of that by itself. I'm going to show an example with the next point, which is Grammarly. Again, so I'm going to share this slide. Aha, sorry, I skipped one. Use the reference citations of functions in Word. This is very basic, but I'm also surprised at how many times I have worked with students who are not familiar with these functions. So let me call up a document here and try to see if several of you have already this kind of experience. So I have opened a blank sheet. Now I can share my document. So click share, go to my blank Word document. Where is my blank Word document? This one. Now I can share. Okay, so I have a document. This is a test, okay? So I'm writing. Let me make sure that you can all see it. Can you see that? This is a test. So here in Word, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this function of references. if I click references while I'm writing a document, I have an option to choose here, manage sources. So as I'm writing it, I can click which style of citation I want, whether it's APA or Chicago or any style of citation. Let's say I want to do the APA, American Psychological Association citation. Now, while I'm writing my document, I click Insert Source. So I want to put a citation here. The document will automatically ask me, where is your source coming from? Is it a book or is it a journal article? So I click a journal article, and who is the author? It's Babalola. Babalola, I like that name. He is the author, and I can click edit to add more information about his last name. His last name is Babalola. His first name is Femi, or whoever he is, and maybe his middle name is Tunde. Now I add okay, I choose okay. Now what's the title of the article? The title of the article is This is a Test. What is the journal? The journal is Nigerian Psychological Association. So I type it, association, that's not the spelling of association. It was published in 2023, and the page that I am citing is 1 to 2. I hope everybody is doing this, because once you enter this, now it puts that citation, Babalola 2023. Now I can continue writing. So I continue writing. But what is good is by the time I finish my paper, I can simply click up here, enter citations. Boom, all my citations appear at the end. Plus, I can now form this as a database. So once I do it once, next time I'm writing, I don't have to. Writing references is what spends your time quite a bit. If I don't know the author, I can search for the author here, right? So click here, do a search on the author. So you can get this topic, who is the author, do a research. If I don't know the author's name or the work they have done, I can do click. So in this case, enter Tarhule. Well, it wasn't, it didn't find me. But this is my work, this is my travel email, my travel laptop, so it doesn't have a lot of information on it. But you can find the authors you need and put them in the citations while you're working on this. It's not just the citations. You can do the same with tables. See, your table of figures, you can do cross-referencing, you can do your index. All of this is done. When you're finished, you click one button and your references will appear. One of the things that beginning researchers sometimes have trouble with is you write a paper and then you don't have all your references. Well, this will never happen if you do this. Your references are automatic. The system also is keeping track of your references. What is more, you don't have to worry about whether you are doing it correctly or not. If I want to use MLA, I will simply use the MLA and it will convert it. You see that? So it's the same reference. If I did this study and I submit it to one journal and I want to do it for another journal, but this other journal has a different citation style, maybe it's Chicago, okay, I just click on that and it will put it in the way that the Chicago citation is structured to do. So that way I don't need to do it every time. So you can use, again, this review feature, or you can use EndNote. This is one of the most famous systems for doing it. But I strongly encourage you, if you haven't learned it, to learn this one. Okay, 2 more points very quickly. Gosh, I'm running out of time. I'll make 2 more points and then I'll stop here to answer questions. So let me go back to my screen. The other point I want to mention that can help you with your research is Grammarly. I know that many of you are probably familiar with Grammarly, but Grammarly is a software that corrects. So the first one I told is your references. Nobody should ever have trouble with their references, right? You shouldn't have missing references. You shouldn't have references that are miscited. You shouldn't have references that are improperly cited, because there is tools and software in Microsoft to get you or any other writing document to make sure that doesn't happen. So if you're not familiar with them, please learn